But here's the thing, women don't ignore men they like. So if she's ignoring you, it's a signal she's not that into you. Trust me, we don't ignore the men we are crazy about.
Have you ever wondered why some guys seem to effortlessly attract women while others constantly struggle for attention? Today we're diving deep into the psychology behind attraction and why everything you've been told about winning over women might actually be pushing them away. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to become the type of man women think about even when you're not around. Let's start with a truth that might sting. The reason she's not interested isn't because you're not good enough. It's because you're doing everything backwards. Most men operate from a place of scarcity, desperately trying to prove their worth. But attraction doesn't work that way. Women are drawn to men who understand their own value and aren't afraid to walk away. Think about the last time you really wanted something. Was it when it was easily available to you, or when it seemed just out of reach? Human psychology is wired to desire what feels scarce or challenging to obtain. The same principle applies to relationships. When you make yourself too available, you remove the natural tension that creates attraction. Here's where most guys go wrong. They think that constant communication equals connection. So they text good morning, check in throughout the day, and send goodnight messages. On the surface, this feels like showing care and effort. But what's actually happening is you're training her brain to take your attention for granted. Silence has power that words simply don't possess. When you're not constantly filling her phone with messages, you create space for her imagination to work. She starts wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and why you haven't reached out. That curiosity is the foundation of attraction. I remember a friend who was constantly messaging a woman he liked. She would respond with short, uninterested replies. One day, instead of sending his usual morning text, he stayed silent for 3 days.
She's not interested. It's really that simple. If you are trying to contact a woman and you're getting delayed response, when a woman likes you, she will cancel plans.
On the third evening, she sent him a long message asking if everything was okay. That silence accomplished more than weeks of constant communication ever could. The key is understanding that attention is currency. When you flood the market with your attention, it becomes worthless. But when you make it scarce, suddenly it has value. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about having enough respect for yourself to not chase someone who isn't showing genuine interest. Being constantly available sends a message that your life revolves around her approval. You cancel plans with friends just in case she calls. You respond to her texts within seconds. You make sure she knows you're always there. But here's what you don't realize. This behavior actually repels attraction. Women are drawn to men who have their own lives, goals, and priorities. A man who sometimes says, "I can't, I'm busy," is infinitely more attractive than one who drops everything at her first text. Why? Because it demonstrates that you value your own time and have things going on beyond seeking her validation. Think about successful people you admire. They don't drop everything for just anyone. They have boundaries and priorities. This creates natural respect and intrigue. The same principle applies to attraction. When you show that your world doesn't revolve around her, she starts paying attention to when you do choose to give her your time. Mystery is another crucial element that most men completely misunderstand. We live in a culture that promotes radical honesty and transparency. While these are important in committed relationships, they can kill attraction in the early stages. When you reveal everything about yourself immediately, you remove all the intrigue that keeps someone interested. Women's brains are wired to fill in gaps with imagination. When you don't overshare every detail about your life, thoughts, and feelings, she starts creating stories about who you are. This mental engagement keeps you in her thoughts even when you're not together. But when you're an open book from day one, there's nothing left for her to discover. Consider your favorite TV shows or books. What makes them compelling? The mystery, the unanswered questions, the anticipation of what comes next. If every plot point was revealed in the first episode, you'd lose interest quickly. The same psychology applies to human attraction. One of the most damaging mistakes men make is competing for a woman's attention. They see other guys commenting on her social media and feel compelled to comment more or be funnier. They notice other men around her and suddenly feel the need to outperform them. This competitive mindset reveals insecurity and desperation. High-value men don't compete for attention. They attract it naturally. They understand that their worth isn't determined by whether one particular woman chooses them. If she can't see their value, that's her loss, not theirs. This mindset shift is fundamental to becoming truly attractive. When you stop competing and start living like you are the prize, everything changes. You're no longer the one hoping to be chosen. You become the one doing the choosing. This flips the entire dynamic and forces her to consider whether she measures up to your standards. Confidence is perhaps the most attractive quality a man can possess. It's not arrogance or cockiness. True confidence is quiet and unshakable. It's the ability to be comfortable in your own skin, regardless of external validation. Women can sense this energy from across a room. Love without confidence feels like neediness, but confidence without love feels like strength.
If you ask a girl out and she keeps saying she's busy or always has an excuse, understand this.
While both are important in relationships, confidence must come first in attraction. A confident man doesn't need constant reassurance. He doesn't fish for compliments or seek approval. He knows his worth and carries himself accordingly. This brings us to perhaps the most powerful psychological trigger, the fear of loss. People don't value what they can't lose. When you make yourself a permanent fixture in someone's life before they've earned that position, they have no reason to appreciate or chase you. But when someone senses they might lose access to you, everything changes. Suddenly, they start questioning their choices. They wonder if they've taken you for granted. They begin to imagine what life would be like without you in it. This fear of loss is what transforms indifference into desire. The key is genuine self-respect, not manipulation. You're not pretending to pull away. You're actually willing to walk away if you're not valued. This authenticity is what makes the approach so powerful. She can sense that you're not playing games. You genuinely have options and standards. Most men are afraid to let a woman feel their absence because they think it means giving up. But the opposite is true. By creating space, you allow her to miss what you bring to her life. You give her the opportunity to realize what she might be losing. This doesn't mean disappearing completely or being cruel. It means having the strength to step back when you're not being appreciated. It means being willing to focus your energy elsewhere rather than forcing something that isn't flowing naturally. The harsh reality is that women don't miss men who are always available. They miss men who add value to their lives and then create space for them to appreciate that value. They miss men who have the confidence to walk away rather than beg for scraps of attention. Every interaction should reinforce your worth, not diminish it. When you constantly chase, explain yourself, or try to convince someone of your value, you're actually communicating the opposite. You're telling them that you don't believe you're worthy of genuine interest. The men who truly understand attraction know that it's not about what you say or do. It's about who you are and how you carry yourself. It's about having standards and sticking to them.
We don't want the man that forgives us. We really don't. We want the man that says, you had your chance, it's been a pleasure, I wish you the best. Because that's the man we respect.
It's about being willing to be alone rather than accepting less than you deserve. This might seem counterintuitive, but the fastest way to become attractive to someone who isn't interested is to genuinely stop needing their interest. When you're truly content with or without them, you radiate the kind of energy that draws people in. The transformation happens when you shift from trying to get something from her to becoming someone who has something valuable to offer. But you only offer it to those who show genuine appreciation and reciprocal interest. Remember, attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And emotions are created through contrast, mystery, and the possibility of loss. When you remove these elements by being too available, too transparent, and too persistent, you eliminate the very forces that create attraction. The goal isn't to manipulate or play games. It's to become the kind of man who naturally attracts respect and interest through his actions and boundaries. It's about developing genuine confidence and self-worth that doesn't depend on any one person's approval. True attraction happens when someone fears losing access to the value you bring to their life. But they can't fear losing something they never had to work for in the first place. Make your attention valuable by being selective about where you invest it. The next time you find yourself wanting to chase, text constantly, or prove your worth to someone, remember this: the right person will recognize your value without you having to convince them. And if they don't, that's valuable information too.